This video is about anticipation and why it's not good. Yeah. Anticipation is bad. I think anticipation is bad. That is the take of this video. I think there's nothing worse in the sphere of arts. I don't want to specify. I'm talking about art here. Anticipation. There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse. And if you want any further proof, look at the new A$AP Rocky album and look at, honestly, a lot of what's happened in his career over the last 8 years. To think that the first thought after testing was, I can't wait for the Tyler, the Creator, A$AP Rocky collab album to come out. And that felt assured. Wang Sap was what it was called? Yeah, Wang Sap. Thank God they didn't go with that. That would not been a good idea for a name. That being said, it was very viewed as very possible at the time. And over years and years of announcements and things not happening, various performances implying things, interviews implying things, and then the album comes out, and it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great listen. It was a great listen. There was no way it could match the anticipation, and that's on me. Rocky did everything he could. He did everything he could. He released a body of work. I'm not entitled to listen to his art, you know? That's a privilege for me, right? And yet, I found myself enjoying something to the point of disappointment. And that's insane. That shouldn't ever be a qualifying factor in art. At the same time, it's so modern, right? Now it's like everything is compared to your previous stuff. You can listen to previous stuff so easily. And when you think about it, it's like a lot of artists before got away with so much. You could just go through a few stretches of bad years and just be fine, you know? Now it's like if you're just slightly worse, I mean, good luck getting that third album, you know? Labels can drop you pretty quick and just shelve albums. Shelving albums is insane. But again, anticipation, that's labels messing up their anticipation. Anticipation matters in, I guess, every level in art. For the listener, it can ruin a good thing. For labels, it can mean you mess things up and now you have to shelve an album because you don't want to pay for the promotion of it, even though it's already been made, and you just take it as a loss. And then if you're an artist, it's maybe the worst it can be. One of the things Rick Rubin talks about a lot in his books is, or in his book, I mean, is that like the last thing you should consider is the audience. When you're making art, if you're thinking about the audience, you're messing up, right? It's a very like simple principle, but it makes a lot of sense. And honestly, it's kind of crazy in his situation, right? Because it's like, what does he contribute? You know, he doesn't play anything. He doesn't mix. At the same time, he's like saying, don't cater to the audience. So then what is he trying to influence? What is he trying to affect? And it's getting the best out of someone. And when you really think about it, it's killing anticipation. One of the things that marks a Rick Rubin album from other albums, and the way you can kind of tell it's him, is that the baseline is fully there. The baseline of quality is there. That's part of why when he has his hands on stuff, it's almost reliably going to be good, because there's always the baseline quality. And you wonder how it gets there. Why is there always just a baseline of creative quality? And it's bizarre to think about, right? No other producer is able to do that. Producers usually have songs that they do well, and they do it in their style, and it's done. But you can't anticipate a Rick Rubin produced album besides knowing that it's going to be quality. And for that to be your level of predictability, that's what you can anticipate, that's fine. Because stylistically, it doesn't matter. When Rick Rubin produces something, it doesn't matter what it is stylistically. It's going to be popular and it's going to be good. I guess that's why he's like one of the greats, you know? like if you move on from normal anticipation to that, then you've somehow turned anticipation into a good thing. That being said, for almost any other situation, anticipation is horrible for creating art, you know? It really is. It really is. Songs aren't designed to be popular, and at best they're meant to be sung along to, right? The ultimate way you can affect someone with song, right, is if you can get them to dance and if you can get them to feel something. If you can get them to sing along, that's good too. But to me, is if you're able to get someone dancing and feeling something, you've done a good job, right? You've done a good job. That's part of why I love New Order and LCD Sound System. Mainly New Order. I think LCD Sound System kind of has his own stuff going on, because I think like he does a sort of like honoring of past dance by ripping things off sometimes, but I don't know, it sounds good to me, so I don't really mind it as much. And yeah, it's like you know, it's like you have ESG, a group like ESG who fits perfectly into the dance category, can get you this place, might not get you to the emotional place. And you have like New Order where it's like both. It's great. Both are great. Nothing wrong with either. There's nothing wrong with someone who doesn't, fits in one box, not the other. And that's why it's like, if you anticipate something stylistically, you avoid looking at the core components. And the core components are the best way to judge something, right? Like that's the only way you can judge art. It's core components and inherent beauty. And inherent beauty is something that's a little bit more nuanced and sort of based in perception to a certain degree. That being said, the idea of something being object beauty is one thing, and inciting an emotion, that's an object thing that you're perceiving, right? You can have different perceptions, and there are right and wrong ways, and to some extent, to perceive things. You can disagree on perception, but there is an intended way to perceive, and there is the intended emotion, and there's what it actually is, the reality of it. And the closer you get to that truth, that's really the best way you can judge something. How true is it? There's a lot of fake stories that tell inherent truths that are amazing. It's really what storytelling is, right? And if that's all that you can judge something for, what's the point of anticipation anything stylistically? Stylistically, there's nothing to anticipate. There's no basis for anything, right? There's no basis unless you know what the artist is doing. Now, there's exceptions like, I don't know, like AC/DC, where every song is the same, and it's cool. I mean, they released an album like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I don't remember when. But it sounded exactly like all their other albums. And people were like, what a return to form. And I was like, this is awesome that there are people that are like, I needed more of this. Like, I love that there were people just needing more, That being said, in most cases, anticipation stylistically can only lead to disappointment. I see this like the Harry Styles album that's coming out. It's very, very techno, electronic, whatever. Jamie XX influenced, or he's opening for him, doing some shows, residency somewhere. I also don't like that he's doing a residency, but that's besides the point. People's reactions to it are very telling. People are like, can you believe there's like all this instrumental element? It's like, yeah, I can believe he's not reinventing the wheel. I can't tell you the last time something truly new has been made in art. Why would I be surprised by anything? He's popular. Once you get popular, you can do what you want now. That's the whole bit of like, eliminating the monocultures. There's a freedom in that. You can just do whatever. And if you are in the monoculture, you have the ultimate freedom. And everyone else is told to stick their niche, and that's fine if that's something you like. But it does lead to a sort of general lack of innovation unless the people who are in the mainstream choose to use their abilities and platform to the best of their ability, And yeah, so it's like, I hate tying everything to hauntology or whatever book I'm reading right now. But like, yeah, I mean, I think it's generally true that like, is there anything he could do that would be surprising? Not really. I can't imagine something. He would have to truly step out of his comfort zone in a certain type of way. I just don't envision him doing. And it's interesting to me to see the reactions by people, right? I love Jamie XX. I'm not surprised by anything that I'm hearing. I love 1975, so I've never been surprised by anything Harry Styles has done. I love David Bowie and Prince. I've never been surprised by anything Harry Styles has done. I don't think he's a bad artist, but I've just never been surprised by anything Harry Styles has done. So what does this mean? Am I anticipating everything? No, I don't know what he's doing. So I don't anticipate. I don't know. And also for the artist, anticipating what you're going to make is just the best way to get burnout. It's the best way to get burnout. If you're trying to avoid burnout, just don't anticipate things. Sit down and spend 3 hours writing a chord progression and then scrap it. And that's kind of my ideas with it is like, I don't think it's like anything that crazy, right? You can kind of work your way through a lot of things when you give up anticipation. The thing is like, when it comes to things outside of art, you don't really always have the privilege of not anticipating things, right? There's a comfort in not anticipating, right? But in art, that's one of the few areas of life where you truly don't have to anticipate. So why do people choose to add that pressure if it's just going to like only lead to frustration? I've never anticipated something and been happy by it when it comes to art. Very rarely have I ever seen a movie that I saw the trailers for and got extremely excited about and saw it and didn't feel a little bit disappointed to a certain extent. Now, there are exceptions. When that happens, it's amazing. But the standard shouldn't be that you have to achieve perfection in order to not let down anticipation to some extent. So I don't know. I feel like this is a very self-explanatory concept, but I feel like that's true for most of my videos and for most concepts, right? I feel like anything that's like truly profound is something you realize when you're like a kid and it just gets reaffirmed consistently. And then you internalize it as a truth, not just off of perception, but based off feeling and based off perception, not just perception. But like outside of that, not to be too like, was it Hume who said the stuff about like just accepting, like accepted truths, that whole idea. So yeah, I guess I'm like against that. Don't just do that. use feeling, use emotion. Find the truth in emotion. There's true reactions. That's important. Anyway, I have a song out called Reaching Out by James Coe. It's on all streaming services. So please check it out if you get the chance. Please, please, please stream. Thanks for watching.